Okay, you guys, after filming this, I realize I am not going to edit out all the cursing that occurred. So if you don't like it, this might not be the video for you.
Yep.
So just so you know, there is going to be some cursing going on in this episode. So just your warning,
Disclaimer.
here it is.
Now,
Click off. Okay, so should we talk about something controversial?
Yes, I'd love to.
Maybe it shouldn't be controversial. I don't know. I don't think that it should be controversial necessarily.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about zappy, zappy, zappy.
We're talking about the use of electronic stimulation collars in specifically for disc dog training. So before you go into the comments and type your opinions on this and want to argue with us, this whole episode, we are only discussing the use of e-collars, aka shock collars, aka e-stim collars, whatever you want to call them, training collars, any of that type of stuff.
Zappy, zappy.
We are only discussing them in the case that they are used in the sport of disc dogs, which is our expertise. We're not talking about behavioralist stuff. I'm not talking about the dog that wants to eat people. I'm not talking about any of that stuff, okay? And you could say that this, our opinion does generally apply to all recreational, for fun dog sports like agility and frisbee. And I say for fun, don't come and tell me that, oh, I make money doing agility and frisbee or whatever dog sport for a living. I don't care. You're doing a dog sport that you don't have to be doing. It's ultimately should be fun for the dog. But anyway, so just a disclaimer, do not come in here and try to argue about their use outside of the sport dog world and frisbee dog world, because we won't be having it. Honestly, I'll just be deleting the comments, so don't even argue that. Now, if you want to argue their use for frisbee in the comments, we will take your engagement. So go on in the comments and type away. So, okay. Well, I think it's kind of clear just based off the intro that we both have the same opinion on this. And you could describe what is our opinion on the use of, we'll call them e-collars just for the sake of,
I call them zap, zap.
trying to
like
keep
that.
it,
I think the opinion is that they don't belong in the sport or any other dog sport.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that pretty much, yeah.
Pretty good summary right there.
Yeah, that's a great summary of it. Okay, episode done. Bye, guys. See you next one. Just kidding. Why are we even talking about this? Why is this even a discussion?
Well, because some people use them.
That's absolutely right.
And an interesting thing is they generally don't come forward. It usually just comes out of rumors, or somebody sees them with it, or sees.
Or they're putting other things on the dog that are similar to try to kind of fake the dog out, so the dog thinks they're wearing, an electronic training collar, and they're actually not.
So I think if you are somebody that does this, you should just have a shirt on that says that you do it, or just make sure everyone knows that you do it, because if there's nothing wrong with it in your mind,
then don't hide it.
Don't hide it. And let everyone know that that's how you train your dog. And
I think that's fair too.
You can't get your dog to play unless you zap them. I'm going to be using that word a lot.
I know,
because it's just zap. That's all I can think.
Okay, well, I'll try to be the more diplomatic one.
I won't be.
Jeff's never diplomatic.
Shocker.
I know, shocker, no pun intended. Okay, so, or maybe it was intended. Okay.
We're clever here on the Disc Dog Pod.
Yeah, real clever. Real clever. So the reason that we're talking about this is because I think it's becoming more known that people use them, or people training with them. People are saying that they train with them, posting videos of them training with them. There's a lot more, I feel like, pro e-collar movement stuff going on than there was maybe 10, 15 years ago. I mean, when I entered the sport, it was pretty much a lot of positive reinforcement stuff was the trend.
It
was trending that way.
Because
it was definitely trending that way, I felt like.
Probably back in the olden days, I mean, we weren't there training or anything back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, but 80s. 90s. Well, I guess I was in the 90s a little bit, but I think it was a lot more prevalent then, and then it was frowned upon, and it started going away, and now maybe it's coming back again.
Yeah, it's kind of that swinging of the pendulum. So
yeah.
Part of what sparked us saying, hey, let's do an episode for this is one, that, there is one specific organization, only one, that does allow usage of the e-collar on the dog during their competition event. And now, while the rule says that the e-collar cannot be turned on, the dog is still allowed to wear it on the field as a training tool. And that is the Toss and Fetch League. So I'm gonna call them out. It's Toss and Fetch League.
Call them out.
And since they instated that rule, I believe it was 2023 or 2024 that they started that. Right away, I was pretty vocal in the comments of how I felt against that. And I honestly haven't played in a Toss and Fetch League since. And not to say that I'm, totally boycotting it. I would say I definitely don't go out of my way. But I would say it is the only organization that I am absolutely against.
Just say it like it is. I'm completely boycotting them. F them. I don't believe that they should have that in their rules. It's an embarrassment to the effing sport. I can't stand it, and I hate it.
So this is coming from two people that have won the Toss and Fetch League.
Yeah, now you made us leave. Good job.
So
it pisses me off so much.
And here's the reason I'm not playing it anymore.
Is because they like to zap their dogs.
Well, okay, hold on. Before I get crazy here.
Get crazy up in here.
It's just getting wild. Well, so part of it is I feel like if I'm playing, I think that helps elevate the level of the competition. And I don't want to honor that organization by playing it in it. And I also don't want to be spending my hard-earned money, and I play a bunch of dogs, so it ends up being pricey.
Oh, yeah. I think at one point in time I was playing about 5 dogs in the league and doing that every week, and absolutely will never do it again, barring some massive change, meaning someone else takes it over and abolishes that nonsense bullshit.
Well, Mark has the ability to do it. But anyway, so I am all for the Toss and Fetch League, the what the core idea used to be of, just get everybody and their neighbor out there playing with their dog. And I love that core value that they have. And I think that rule does not align with it. So that's the biggest reason that we're talking about it, because there is a competition organization that is allowing this. And at this time, none of the other organizations that I'm aware of allow them even on the premises. You can't even walk your dog to potty them on the side, of the field with one on. So
thank you to all the other organizations who are intelligent and have very reasonable values in this sport and don't feel the need to zap your dog.
So the other thing is that the other organizations also don't allow prong collars either. I don't remember Toss and Fetch League's rule on that. You might be able to have one. I have no idea. But anyway, I kind of stopped really paying attention to the rules after after they instituted the whole e-collars are allowed on the field thing. Okay, so and then another thing that rule change was made a little while ago. Another thing that kind of re-brought it up again was in the sheep herding world. I guess there was some talk about it and some trainers using it. I don't know who specifically. I'm not that deep into it to know, but I do know that one of the groups that's considered the top tier sheepdog training couple is outspokenly against using e-collars for sheep herding. And to me, you could argue that the sheep could be in danger or whatever. I'm not going to get into it, but there's more safety hazards in sheep herding because there's other livestock involved.
I obviously hate the whole idea of using shock collars. I think you have to be an asshole, in my opinion. But hey, everyone to each their own, I guess. If you don't like your dog, go zap them. But I would say this. With that said, the fact that I hate them doesn't mean that there may be cases where it's important to use something to zap your dog because they're doing something so horrible. But if that's the case, maybe the dog shouldn't be leaving your house or doing anything. But in one example I'll give that I've been told, or in my research, that the only reliable way of training your dog for rattlesnake avoidance or any kind of poisonous snake avoidance is by using one.
That's not for sport. That's more of a safety thing. Right. So I can understand.
In that particular case, I do believe it would the ends would justify the means, where you're going to save your dog's life. I'm sure in police work it's something too. If the dog's not letting go, if they need to, zap them, if they're not letting go of the suspect or whatever, or in training, I guess I could see that being used. I mean, and it does make sense. I am strictly talking about disc dogging or agility or anything that's similar to it.
Right. Exactly.
Because I don't know enough about those other situations. I'm not going to ever put myself in a situation where I need to use one or I feel that it's required. I'm never going to live in a place where, there's rattlesnakes around, but they're not going to be in our yard here.
Yeah.
So I'm never going to be in a situation where it would even be on my radar to use one.
Yeah. So those are kind of the reasons that we brought this up and thought that it might be important to, state what we think about it publicly.
And I would love to know from someone who uses them, when do you do it? Is it because your dog won't drop the disc? So that tells me you didn't train your dog to drop the disc. Is it because they didn't run back fast enough? Where are you using it?
Yeah, so I actually had this question as well. So I pretty much have two reasons to not use them in my training. And one is because I think that they are not as good of a training method and I'm not going to get as good of results. And that's just, to me, that's the math in my head saying that doesn't add up, and that's not going to add up to better Frisbee dog in my mind. And then the other reason is it's not fun for the dog. We'll get into that later. But so, I've thought about this, and why would somebody choose to train with an e-collar versus, like our style methods or more positive.
You mean being nice to your dog?
More positive.
You mean being nice to your dog and just encouraging them to play? Yeah, why?
Okay, so well, so I kind of came to two conclusions about why somebody would use an e-collar in training. And one was to correct an unwanted behavior, like maybe the dog chews on the disc, or maybe, the dog doesn't, I don't know, the dog is doing something actively that you don't want them to do. I think chewing on the disc is a pretty common one. And then the other one would be giving them a consequence for not listening to something that you asked them to do, and then they didn't do what you wanted. Like maybe a recall. After they catch the disc, you call the dog, and, they blew you off and they ran to the tree, and then, you use your correction on the dog to get them to not do that. So those are the two things that I usually see. Now, somebody, if you have some other thing that you're doing that doesn't fall into one of those two categories, let me know. But those are the two things that I see. It falls into one of those two. Correcting them for doing something that you don't want them to do, or correcting them for something that you asked them to do and they refused. And I kind of want to debunk both of those. So first one would be correcting an unwanted behavior. So correcting a dog for doing something that you don't want him to do, like chewing a disc. And unfortunately, I would say that a lot of this is best prevented rather than corrected. It's much easier to fix when
you don't have to fix it.
You don't have to fix it. So, that is kind of part of hooking up with a trainer early on that, can guide you in a good way, which, not to plug my classes, but I'm just saying I do have an online foundations course that's really good for all this stuff. And let me tell you, and I'm seriously, I'm not just trying to toot my own horn, but like Sora had this issue of chewing on the disc and toss and fetch. After she'd make the catch, she'd like turn around, she'd play with it a little bit before coming back. And because of what I had taught her, which you could learn in the foundation class, I did not stop. Now, because of what she knew, which you can find in that foundations class, I was able to stop it completely, and she doesn't do it anymore. And never had to pull out a collar. She didn't have to wear anything. I didn't even touch her. So kind of crazy. So when you have certain foundations, you can prevent a lot of this stuff. Now, let's say like you're beyond that point. Your dog's already doing something. Prevention is really not an option anymore. But there's other ways to stop the behavior, and I don't want to say correction because that's not necessarily the right word, but you take away rewards and you can stop the game of play when they're doing something that you don't want. And that's not zapping them. That's, taking them off the field. That's walking over, leashing them up and saying, okay, we're not going to do that right now.
Yeah. Just picking up the disc. Okay, we're done. We're not doing that anymore.
That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is redirecting too.
Yeah, like if I get frustrated, any trainer is going to get frustrated or upset or whatever, or just worried about how things are unfolding for you.
Yeah.
I just go get the disc. I'm like, okay, we're done. And we just need a reset anyways, because apparently I didn't train you right. If you're doing something I don't want you to do, I didn't train the dog right. And if they're doing something all wacky, we're not getting anywhere. So I just stop.
Yeah.
Real simple.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's all you can do. And sometimes it's like maybe you don't want to work on that right now. Whatever's causing them or brings out that behavior in them, there's something that happens. There's a chain of events that happens that leads them to doing that behavior. And you cut it off before it gets to that point.
Yep.
So, and a lot of times you do that by redirecting. If you haven't stopped them before they already started doing the behavior, it's very hard to get them to stop a lot of times. And so, you can, once they've gone too far, you might have to take them out of the game and reset, like you said. If you're early enough, you can redirect them and kind of recreate your chain. And I think none of that requires a training collar. And I think that you'll get a better result because it's going to be one less thing that you have to phase away. Now, I guess, if you use treats to redirect them, you have to fade out the treats. But to me, I think it's kinder to fade out the treats than it is to fade out the collar.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier in most cases, but I don't want to get too deep into that. So the other way of using an e-collar that I wanted to debunk is, giving the dog a consequence as a result of not listening to something you asked them to do. So my example was, the dog catches the disc and they're supposed to return to you and you're calling your dog, and they blow you off and who knows what they're
going to piss on a tree.
Yeah, a lot of them like to do that. Yeah, trust me.
We've seen that.
Been there, done that. Not me personally,
not
but
me.
Flash.
My dogs have.
No, my dogs have done it.
I don't think my dogs have ever done that. I don't think, but.
Oh, no. Flash was absolutely. And let me tell you, actually, funny story about Flash is that he just wanted to pee on the tree so bad that.
So.
No. Okay. No, what Flash did is that Flash's reward for finishing his round was to go pee on the tree. So after the last move, he'd stand there and he'd stare at me. And I'd be like, okay, go ahead. And then he would race over and pee on the tree. But you know what? He didn't leave during his round. And he was happy. I was happy. We got our round completed. He was happy that he could go pee on the tree. And you know what? We had a good time.
It kind of reminds me a little bit like, the dog misses the disc, and then they look and they see the cone and they run over and grab the cone. Well, you can't really be upset about that. I mean, it's pretty freaking funny, to be honest with you, because they didn't realize that wasn't. That a lot of them, they usually realize it at some point in time, spit it out, and they're like, "Wait, where's my frisbee?"
My favorite are the dogs that just pick it up and go with it.
Oh yeah, some of them do that too.
It, baby.
Yeah, but you can please never be upset with your dog if they do that. Look, they can't see the same way that we do, and they're just all in the moment. And they think they got the disc.
It's funny. I think that's so funny.
Yeah.
So okay.
I've had my dogs do that. You have too, I'm sure.
Yes. So, there's a lot of reasons that a dog might run off. And to me, I think that kind of leads back to whatever they're not listening to or whatever they're going off to is more fun than whatever you're asking them to do. And to me, that's kind of like, okay, I think you just need to make whatever you're doing more fun. Your recall, maybe you need bacon in your hand, or maybe you need to be jumping up and down
bacon
and
strips,
screaming and, like I do with Link, acting like there's going to be a party at the line if you get back here, like quit looking around trying to, as Ken calls it, signing autographs. That's what Link does after he catches the disc. He looks around and like, Link! And I got, I got to like scream at him and be like, let's go! He's like, okay. But you have to make whatever you're doing more fun. And if they're blowing you off, I think that it's a sign that whatever you're doing isn't fun enough. And you have to find ways to make it more fun. Treats, excitement, running away, a tug toy, like, and it's very specific to whatever they're blowing you off from. I feel like the recall is like such a big one that, especially a lot of beginners have problems with, trying to get the dog to come back after they caught the Frisbee is, a challenge in the beginning for sure for a lot of people. So, you need to be more fun. I'm sorry to say it. You got to learn to be fun.
Well, I guess my take on the whole thing is summarized with two ideas. One, learn how to train. You're just using this as an excuse to not actually teach your dog anything. Two, leading right from that is what you're trying to do is make your dog do something whenever you're doing that. Whenever I train my dogs in disc, I don't make them do anything. It is always their choice to do what we're doing. So every single thing it is, no matter what it might be, whether it be handing the disc to me, dropping the disc, the quick return, catching it, just doing multiple discs, whatever it might be, I have convinced them that this is what they want to do.
And that this is fun. And then some dogs just arrive and then they're already obsessed and crazy with it. And they're like, oh no, you're gonna play with me, like Sora.
But not every dog wants to. Most dogs don't want to drop it right away. Most dogs don't want to retrieve it right to your hand.
Most dogs don't want to do like 90% or more of what we do.
So I convince my dogs to do everything because they want to do it. And the reason they do it so well, the reason you've seen me out there if you've seen me, with one dog, then another dog, and it just as the years go by, every single dog I go out there with, we win. And it's because I have convinced them that they want to do this, and it's all their idea.
Well, and the things that are that help you in achieving those goals, we make it fun, like the handoff. Okay, that's a great thing, great example. That's a game to them. They just think that's fun. Giving you the disc and like Sora shoves the disc at me. We've made that a game. That's a training game that we've played. Freestyle, all of the different moves. It's all a game. Everything's a different little game. Training a vault's a game. Another
game, dropping the disc. Whenever I teach the drop, it becomes a game because when they drop it, there's going to be a delay on when I have them grab it again. Whenever I tell them to get it. And they love the anticipation, and they know that they're going to be able to smash down on that disc again and bite it, and that's so much fun. And they don't know when I'm going to give them the release on whenever I say okay or get it or whatever the word is. They don't know exactly when that's going to happen, and you'll see them trembling. They're ready to do it, and I say get it, and they just smash it, and then I tug with them. And so the drop was their idea. I told them to drop, and they spit it out because they know they're going to be able to grab it again and then tug. And it's just rewarding for them. Every single thing that we do is fun and rewarding and boosts their confidence and makes them want to do it. They don't feel that they have to do it. They do it because they want to do it.
Well, and it's interesting too, because it's like, so when they're first learning the game, they may not have the anticipation because they don't really understand it. But then as they get the experience and we keep playing the game, they understand it and they're like, oh yeah. They can't wait. They cannot wait. Yep. That's why, like, I really need earplugs when I walk out with Flair because she won't shush her little mouth. So, one of the arguments that I have heard in favor of using training collar, especially like competition, or I should say, competition style event, is that, maybe the dog is unsafe or aggressive towards people or not, you can't trust them. Even if they're not aggressive, maybe you can't trust them to come back to you or all of that. And maybe you're trying to go from, playing in your yard and move up to, more distracting environment levels, that type of thing. And so my response to that is, one, if you're worried so much that the dog is, maybe going to hurt somebody potentially or, scare a person or another dog or somebody there, I would say that, that dog may not be fit to do the competition environment. Maybe they just need to enjoy Frisbee in the backyard if they're not so focused on the Frisbee that they, want to go after something else for whatever reason, whether they're scared or aggressive or whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter the reason. If the dog is, obviously uncomfortable and not totally focused on the disc, it might be better, if they're going to go off to
some of them just like
somebody.
to run off.
Well, and that's a different thing too. I think those types of
dangerous.
dogs.
That dog can get hit.
Well, that's true too.
Or
So
lost
if you're
or
worried
whatever.
about that, and it may not be necessarily a danger to people, on the outside or dogs on the outside, but a danger to the dog, like, I don't know, they run into the street or they run up to another dog, which might snap at their face, which, kind of get that because they feel threatened that the dog ran in their face. Those types of dogs, I would put a long line on them and go really, really short, make really baby steps, and don't, think, okay, well, I'm throwing 30 yards in my backyard. Well, let me just take that to competition. You might need to be throwing really short and keep them on a line so that for sure they can't go anywhere, and you can kind of build up to them being more focused in environments that are hectic and, more distracting. And I don't think the e-collar is going to help them focus on you in the long term. And you're not going to be able to go in any other competitions with the e-collar. That's the other thing too. So you would really just be limited to toss and fetch league. You wouldn't be able to go outside of that. So I kind of talked about the training part of why I don't bother with using an e-collar. And then the other side is just, I just don't think it's right. I think we play this sport to have fun with the dogs. And, it doesn't matter if you're competitive or if you're just recreational player or, what level you are. The whole point is really, at the end of the day, an activity for the dog. Mm-hmm. And you can enjoy it too, and you can be competitive, but at the end of the day, it's a game. Frisbee's a game, agility's a game. All of them are a game for the dog. And they should really be fun for the dog. And I don't think that, and, like we mentioned earlier, sometimes you get frustrated or maybe training's not going the way you had envisioned that day. And you're just like, you know what, maybe we're going to throw in the towel for today and, just do something easy and reward and reset for the next time. But, to me, that's different than actively making the game aversive for the dog. And I think we play the game to have fun with the dogs. And at the point at which the dog is no longer having fun is when we've really lost the vision of the sport. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a problem. And I think it's a problem that these rules are kind of have made their way into the sport. It's a disappointing thing to see. And it's a disappointing thing to see young trainers and old trainers, but, variety of trainers, but especially the young ones, using these tools to train disc. And I think when you look at a lot of the top people, and I don't know how everybody is training, and I can't vouch for everybody, but I can vouch for you because I see you training. We don't use those tools. And I think there's quite a few other disc stars. I'm not going to name drop. If you're a disc star and you want to name drop yourself, go for it.
Especially if you're zapping your dog, please tell us your whole mindset. If it makes you feel good inside, you're zapping your dog or whatever. Yeah, just let us know. Please be public about it and say, this is what I do. Because I'm more than happy to go out and say, I do not use them. And everyone knows that and is very open. You should be open too if you're so comfortable with it and you feel great about doing that to your dog.
Yeah, I think I would be
justify it.
I would be interested to know any other reasonings, because I think we're both pretty.
I want name drops, is what I want.
I think we're both pretty strongly on the opinion.
Drop your own name, drop someone else's name, whatever. Let's hear it. Hey, why not? Especially if if you feel so confident in your belief, just please let us know. This would be great information. And then never contact me again.
Oh my God.
Hey, well, when I don't like something, I let you know. I'm not going to hold back.
Yeah.
What's the point in doing that? Just sugarcoat everything and just try to make everything like rainbows and unicorns and happiness and everything, no matter what it is.
If you don't use
it. If you want that, then yeah, don't use it.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I think that kind of. Is there anything else that you had on this? Or?
I had a great idea.
What?
We should have had one on each other. Each time someone said something stupid, zap them. But I would have been hurting. I would have been hurting.
Your head would have fallen off of your. You would have had burn holes.
Oh my God.
You wouldn't be able to talk anymore. You'd be like those smoker commercials with
oh
with
my
the
gosh,
hole in
it
the
smelled
throat.
like bacon in here. Or
Yeah.
something. Well, that could be good.
Actually, the dogs might come back for that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, zap yourself, and then maybe that's fine. Here's the thing: if you want to use one, you wear one yourself, and every time you zap your dog, you zap yourself. And if you do that, then
I think you might learn quicker.
You might learn. Oh, good point. You might actually be trainable yourself, believe it or not. Otherwise, you're probably not.
Hey, I will say, I would venture to guess that e-collars do work, and there's a reason they work, and it's because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. If they're not causing pain or whatever, that's an argument I hear a lot too. If they weren't causing pain, they would not work. They just wouldn't. The whole point of it is that it's an aversive. Now, okay, I am going to add one more point of where I would say the only scenario where I could see it being okay. I have heard about like the vibrating collars. I have never myself had a deaf dog, so and I have heard deaf dog folks say that that's not something that they use anyway, but I could understand a deaf dog using a vibrate collar, not the more stimulating kind of
and
collar.
I'm not.
And I can understand that for a deaf dog, and that is the one case that I could see that being fine and even potentially allowed in something like Dawson Eventually. I could understand.
And I'm not even talking about those kinds of collars. I'm talking about shock collars.
Well,
I don't need, the citronella collars for barking and different things. Whatever. Those don't even enter on my radar as being anything to me. It's not going to hurt the dog.
Yeah. But so I can understand that, but I think when it crosses the line of being more aversive, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's helping.
Because I think this is, I don't know if you call this a sport, but somebody with a dog for hunting. I thought I had a friend many years ago that used a vibrating collar that if the dog got too far away, they would vibrate, and then the dog knew, come find me.
Oh, okay.
And he'd give him a treat or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And, it didn't scare the dog or anything like it. It would just be
but they can't hear him. So what are they going to do? Yell for the dog? The dog can't hear him. He's way out there.
That makes sense. And if you're hunting and you go yelling, that's kind of defeating the purpose of hunting with screaming for your dog.
Yeah.
So that's a case where that kind of thing can be used. And I think even I've heard about that sort of thing in herding where
they could be really far too.
So far away. And they're radio controlled, so those signals will go miles. I mean, they'll go really far. I don't know if all the collars work that far away, but I mean, if it's radio signals, they'll go really, really like many, many miles.
Yeah.
And you can, just do that, and your dog knows if you're hurting. Dog knows. I gotta come back. Gotta come back. I got lost.
I get that, but that's not an aversive. That's more of a signal.
Right.
That's simply a hey, come over here. That's the same as me calling a dog. Hey, come over here, and yeah. Like I said, when it crosses that line, I think of being aversive is where you have the greater problem. Anything else you wanted to add?
The thing I always say at the end of the Disc Dog Pause, or almost every time, sometimes I mix it up a little bit. I say, love your dogs. And if you love your dog, do you think that that's loving them? Look, I love my dogs. You love your dogs. I love your dogs. You love my dogs. We don't zap them. So, as I always say, love your dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the proof is in the pudding.
It sure is.
For you see these dogs that are doing really, really well out there that are enthusiastic to come back, and I mean, you watch Sora's Recall or Bon Bon, the way Bon Bon runs back. You can't e-collar train them to do that.
Right.
You just can't. Not like that. So anyway, I know this is probably kind of a more controversial episode, or maybe for some of you, you feel the same way. So this is just a little bit of an echo chamber for you. But sound off in the comments below your thoughts.
Fight.
And if this offended you,
good. And you know what? Like I said before, you don't need to talk to me. We don't need to be friends. We won't be friends if that's how you are. We just never need to talk, and you don't have to worry about it ever again. I have a very strong feeling about
There's
this.
so much cutting I'm gonna have to do on
Nope,
this
keep
episode.
it all in there. Fuck you.
Oh my god.
What has this been?
The
This
Disc
has
Dog
been
Zap. What has this been?
the
The
Disc
Disc Dog
Dog Pod. Love your dogs. Remember, love your dogs.